I want to make sure I cover a few things with you.
Yeah, for sure. We haven't even talked
Yeah.
about like the fucking mushroom retreats yet, but that's
Dude, I
okay.
know, right? So like, if someone's called to this, right? Like, so I'm called to this. I want to go do a therapeutic mushroom retreat with you. What does that look like? How do I schedule it? How do I book it? What does that look like?
Sure. So, the way that the Buena Vida, which is the name of my company, the Buena Vida Psilocybin Retreats, the way that it was born, just to give like a tiny little backstory, was I was working in Ecuador. I found a lot of healing in my own retreat. I ended up coming back as a volunteer. Then I came back as the general manager, and I was running the retreats. I wasn't running the ceremonies, but I was running the retreats themselves. So the orientation, integration,
At the
you know,
place that you did your
yeah,
experience. So you
yeah.
got
So
called enough that you're like, yo, I'm coming back, and you guys probably need to figure out how to put me on the
it was
payroll.
beautiful. I was living in community. I was, it was a perfect timing. Like someone was leaving and I came in as the manager. And that was again where I got to use all of my community organization skills, all of my
Incredible.
sales skills, all of my leadership skills, and also was given the opportunity like, hey, you want to teach a class? Do you want to, teach meditation? Do you want to do all these things? So I was given an audience of constant, 25 people coming every few weeks into this space. And it was, and then also because I was there a long time, the shaman started to trust me, and then I became a fire keeper for ayahuasca, and then I became a gatekeeper for San Pedro. So I was also learning their traditions and learning about ceremony and ritual and about the fire and their connection. So slowly was starting to be brought into the training of how to be in leadership and ceremony. So my very last ayahuasca journey, I was getting toward the end of my third year there, and I was like, something else has to happen. I'm like 36 years old. I have no money. I have like $500 in the bank. I'm basically volunteering. I was like, by the time I'm 40, I really want to have something together where I can take care of myself and I'm on a path that I can see that makes sense for me. So I go into an ayahuasca journey. At this point, honestly, in 3 years, I probably only drank ayahuasca like 8 times. Like
Okay.
she had to drag me kicking and screaming because she's so powerful. And I waited until she like yanked me out of my bed and said, get your ass in ceremony.
Yeah.
So I end up having, I really, because it's just, she's so intense. So I'm in ceremony and I have the most beautiful journey of my life where she basically comes to me in the beginning and says, ask me anything you want. I'm here for you. I'm here to meet you in this. She takes me to my future wedding. She takes me to like so many different things that are just incredible. And then at one point, I'm just kind of sitting there. It's been like a just intense journey. And I hear as clear as day as I'm telling you, oh, by the way, you're going to move to Mexico and you're giving people mushrooms.
Fucking hey. All right. Here we go, Dad. Big download.
Okay. No instructions, no other details, nothing. So I wake up the next day with this very like, and a bunch of other homework, like call your uncle, do all these, like so much homework, right?
Yeah.
But that was clear. And I was like, okay, I haven't taken mushrooms in like 12 years. I don't live in Mexico. I haven't been to Mexico in 10 years.
Right.
I had $500 in my bank account. Like, what are you talking about? But the idea was so rich within me that it was like, this has to happen. And the way that it fell into line was just like fucking clockwork. Like I looked up, I'm like, where would I go? Maybe I'll go to like Tulum or Playa del Carmen. That looks pretty. I wonder if there's a retreat center there. Bing, bing, bing. Find the first place. It was an ashram in the jungle. They're like, hey, we're offering retreats now. And you can just like book a retreat and host your own retreat here. I email them. They're like, it's $1,000 deposit. Like first place, everything was going like this. Like it was just, it was in such a place of creation of magic of like, what does the website look like? Like, it was all from fun and joy. And I had no business plan. I had no intention of understanding how it was going to work, but it was just happening. It was
Yeah.
happening through me.
Well,
And I
you
had
can
that.
always figure that shit out, but you
Yeah.
have to start taking action. Like so many people just get stuck in the paralysis through analysis before you ever take that first step. And then it's easy to just be like, oh, I just can't because you're busy looking at step 200.
Yeah.
Like,
And
just
you're
do
busy
step one, dude.
have like, well, I have to have 10,000 followers before I have this, before I have a marketing plan, no. I literally went on Squarespace. I'm like, what's the cheapest website? Okay, it's $10 a month. Great. Plug and play. Here's some information. Click a button, set up a PayPal. Like I seriously just went bare bones on all of it. And I was like, at this point, I was like, I have no mushrooms. I don't know who's going to come to this thing, but I'm just putting it 6 months out from now. I took out $500 on a credit card. I was like, I hope this fucking someone comes to this thing.
Yeah.
Right. Like unknown girl who's like, come to the jungle and take mushrooms with me. And our very first retreat in January of 2019.
I'm sure lots of men have fallen for that. Like that story, I'm willing to bet
Hey,
has
the jungle.
begun a good path for many of people. Come
Oh
to
my
the
God,
jungle and do mushrooms with me. Absolutely.
exactly. And yeah, 20 people came to our first
Wow,
retreat.
dude.
It's more than we've ever had because that was a lot. 20 was a lot.
20's a
Um,
lot. So how many helpers did you have?
well, I had a shaman at the time named Kate, who I worked with for a year, and then I think we had 5 facilitators for that
Okay.
one. Yeah. So it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. I felt really confident running the retreat itself, the orientation, like the workshops, you know. And then it had the ceremony just over to Kate, who had been working with a Shipibo for a few years and had worked with mushrooms her entire life, was really on the ayahuasca path, but was just a beautiful space holder and musician, and it was gorgeous. And the very first woman to ever sign up, her name's Marguerite, like she would love a shout out, was I had worked with her in Jamaica at a different mushroom retreat called Myco Meditations. And I'll never forget the like $1,500. I see it in my PayPal and it's like, $1,500 was like 10 million to me at this time.
Dude,
She just wrote me and she's
yeah,
like,
I know.
no,
I fucking know.
$500,
Yeah.
And she said, anything you do, I'll come to. I trust you. I love you. Like, I'm coming. And it was that spark of faith. It was that seed that just like, and then from there, every other person, I had never met them in my life. They weren't friends or family. They were people who, to this day, I ask, how did you find me? They're like, I don't know. I was just like on the internet and then I went here
Yeah.
and there and I saw you and I saw your picture and I just thought, wow, I'll do this. So that trust and like, and ayahuasca told me that too. And I always do this to this day. And this is like a woo woo side of me, but it's fucking worked. Is that she explained, like the nature of the internet is the exact same as the nature of the mycelium network, as a cell, as everything, right? As above, so below. So she was like, when you're going to like physically put your hands on your computer to write an email or to write a piece of content for your website or to send a payment or do anything, like know that energy is calling in those that are supposed to work with you, and like use the internet
intent.
not, oh, this is spiritual, but this is like my marketing internet time. Like, no, it's
Same.
all spirit. And so those people will feel that. And to this day, they're like, I just liked your video, or I just saw your picture. I just trusted you. I don't know what it was. I don't know what you said. It was your energy. It was your
Fucking
energy
intent, dude. It's energy. It's intent. You're putting it out there as a healer. You're not trying to pull. You're not trying to take. You're staying on give, and it's obvious.
Yeah. And that has kept it, we shut down like 2 retreats when COVID first sprung up in 2020. But by June of 2020, we were like back and going again because we just had people. And I have such a heart for people who are so vulnerable and admit to me, they're like, this is my last hope. I've done everything. I've taken all of the pills. I've done all of the therapy and I need to come to this. And during COVID, they were like, so I get COVID. Who cares? I'm on the verge of like wanting to die anyway. That's where people come to a lot of times to these retreats. They really do.
It is for sure. It's a last ditch effort, especially for Western culture, or for our culture of like, fuck, man, I'll try jungle juice,
yeah,
or whatever it is.